Álvares de Azevedo was a Brazilian poet, short story writer, and essayist born in 1831 and who passed away prematurely in 1852 at the age of 20. He is one of the main figures of Brazilian Romanticism, particularly associated with the second Romantic generation, also known as the mal do século or evil of the century. His work reflects deep pessimism and melancholy, influenced by his fragile health and the works of European authors such as Lord Byron and Alfred de Musset. The Lira of 20 Years, published posthumously in 1853, is his most famous work and reveals an author torn between idealistic lyricism and biting irony. The Lira of 20 Years is a collection of poems divided into two parts. The first part is characterized by melancholic and idealistic verses that express feelings of impossible love, longing, and death, themes dear to Romanticism. The second part, on the other hand, reveals a more sarcastic and ironic side of the author, using dark humor to address themes such as love, bohemian life, and the human condition. This duality in Azevedo's work reflects the complexity of his feelings and his divided worldview. The poems in the Lira of 20 Years capture the essence of what became known as the mal do século, a hallmark of the second Romantic generation. Azevedo's poetry expresses a profound disenchantment with life while seeking transcendence in death and dreams. However, even as he idealizes love and death, the author also critiques, with irony, the very romantic idealization. This contrast between sentimental exaltation and irony is what gives his work a unique and fascinating character. The importance of the Lira of 20 Years to Brazilian literature is undeniable. Through his poetry, Álvares de Azevedo solidified the image of the ultra-romantic poet in Brazil, influencing generations of writers. His work is a perfect synthesis of the Romantic spirit, blending elements of the sublime and the grotesque, life and death, idealism and reality. Moreover, the Lira of 20 Years is an intimate portrayal of a tormented and creative youth, reflecting the anxieties of a generation marked by pessimism and the search for meaning in a disillusioned world. To conclude, here are the 5 main characteristics of the book The Lira of 20 Years by Álvares de Azevedo. Thematic duality. The work is marked by a duality between idealistic lyricism and biting irony, reflecting the internal contradictions of the author and the complexity of his worldview. Influence of the mal do século. Azevedo's poetry encapsulates the spirit of the mal do século, a characteristic of the second Romantic generation, manifesting deep pessimism and disenchantment with life. Exploration of the sublime and the grotesque. The Lira of 20 Years blends elements of the sublime, such as idealism and platonic love, with the grotesque, expressing irony, dark humor, and a critical view of reality. Idealization of love and death. The work idealizes impossible love and death as forms of transcendence, while simultaneously questioning this idealization with a critical and ironic perspective. Literary legacy. Álvares de Azevedo's work profoundly influenced Brazilian literature, solidifying the figure of the ultra-romantic poet and reflecting the anxieties and aspirations of a creative and tormented youth. This was our summary of the book The Lira of 20 Years by Álvares de Azevedo. We hope it helped you.